Hello! Okay, I got it all to work. So my name is Tara Reed. I am an artist and a fabric designer for Riley Blake Designs, and this is my first Easy Things to Sew for the holidays live sewing tutorial. This will be the first time that I'm attempting to talk to you, have a camera showing you ironing and cutting and things like that, and also have a camera on my sewing machine. So if everybody could sit there with your fingers crossed that it all works out perfectly for us, that would be awesome. But I'm really trying to embrace the concept that it's technology, so something might happen and it is not a reflection on me. So anyway, I decided to wear my comfy get down to work kind of lake look since I have my Better to Wake at the Lake fabric quilt behind me. This is one of my newer collections from Riley Blake Designs. And today we are going to be making really simple coasters. I absolutely love these. They're great for using up fabric scraps. They're really simple to make. They're great for teaching people how to sew, doing with kids. Teacher gifts, you know, the holidays are coming up. You might want to give a little appreciation to lots of different people. So this is going to work out wonderfully. I'm going to show you how to use 5-inch pre-cuts. Riley Blake calls them stackers. Moda calls them, I can't even remember. There's just trademarked, whatever everybody calls this, but we call them stackers at Riley Blake. But before we get started, I would love to hear where you're from. So I'm also manning the comments. So like I'm a one-woman show here. And hopefully all these lights are not going to make me super sweaty. So let me know in the comments where you're from. It is always a lot more fun when people interact with me and I know, you know, what you're enjoying. If you have questions, you can do that. There's a little bit of a lag for me. So I will, and I'm going to be moving around. So I will, Oklahoma, and I'm in Portland, Oregon, if you don't know that about me. Yeah, I'm really excited. I love teaching, I love sewing, I love painting, I love designing. So I thought, oh, Minnesota. I thought I would show you what I did today. This is just kind of like a peek in the life of fabric design. So one of my new collections is called Come Let Us Adore Him, and this will be coming out for 2025. And UPS brought me a bag of what we call strike-offs. So one thing I love about Riley Blake is I get to look at and critique and approve and say, hey, can we change this? Can we change that for my fabric? So I get, you know, through each of the prints. These are the main, this is the main print. You're going to have to wait a year for this, sorry. Well, it ships in May, so you have to wait till the summer. That's the main print. This is a star print. And this was one that my design director and I had a little chat about because the blue and the burgundy look great. Oh, we have upstate New York and Washington State. Oh, you're just north of me. New Hampshire, Australia. What time is it in Australia? Are you up late or early? Ohio. Okay, anyway, back to these. So this one doesn't look good. See how this star, I'll try and get it closer. See how this star with the burst looks really good on the blue and the burgundy because it looks like it's shining. And on this, there's not enough contrast. It looks like a firework, don't you think? Hold on, the light's weird. I guess it gets too blown out when it gets too... Oh, anyway, it looks like fireworks. So we're going to have them work on that because it's really important to them and to me that everything matches and everything looks really good. So this is going to be the diamonds. We had no comments on those. It'll be green, raspberry, and navy. These are silhouettes, which looks great in the green, except that it's supposed to be really solid silhouettes. I don't know why they're like faded on the inside. Looks fabulous, except for the firework stars, but that looks great. Not as great on the green and not enough contrast on the blue. So we're sending that back to be worked on. But hold on, I need that blue to show you one more thing. Then this is the text, and this one, you can't even read half of it. I have no idea why, because it looks really good on blue and cream. So they will fix that. It is all going to look perfect, whoops, when it is in stores and you can buy it. Oh, here's one other thing. So just so you can see what's coming. This is part of the panel. So it's got a really big scene, but you can't see, like, there's supposed to be background and like palm trees and a hill. Can't see it at all. I just had to redo the file to give more contrast. Same with these images up here. So the one panel has 4 images and the big one, and then this, oh my gosh, so excited about this. This is going to be an advent calendar, and it's so easy. All you do is you fold it up like that to make the pocket, and you just sew straight. It's fantastic. It would be a great for beginners. Hold on, did I grab something else? Okay, enough of that. I just did that in the past hour, so I thought you might be interested in hearing about that. Oh, 11 a.m. in Australia. Well, good morning. What's for lunch? Okay, I'm going to turn on my iron because why not add more heat to the situation, right? Ooh. Okay, so we're going to get down to work. Can you tell me, actually, in the comments, is this too, like, blown out? Is it too bright? Do I need to adjust that? Let's pretend we're at the eye doctor's. I think I can adjust it. Is that better? Or, whoops, no, that's not better. Wait. Is that better? I think that's better. Somebody give me a thumbs up if the new lighting is better. I think it is. Okay, because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So, these coasters are made from 5 squares, 5-inch squares of fabric. And I made these with my spring barn quilts fabric, and I wanted to tell you about that a little bit. But since we have the lake behind me, we are going to do, okay, yes, better, cool. And you guys, if you're ever on a live, I'm going to do this every Wednesday for November and possibly part of December if it's fun and you guys are having fun and we're all having fun. Except not mid-December because I'm going to be in India because my son is getting married. Very excited. Second time. Same woman. He got married in London in September. Now we're going to India. Anyway, you can always tell me if the lighting is bad or the audio is bad. I'm figuring this all out. So we're going to use the Wake at the Lake. These 5-inch stackers come with 42 pieces of fabric. So you could make 8 coasters from a stack. And the beauty of the stackers is they're already cut, right? You just have to go through and pick them. But this is also a although it, see all that fuzz it makes because the edges are always zigzagged. That's my only complaint about these things. But it saves you time for cutting. If you have a lot of scraps, you can just use those. Hold on, I'm dying. I gotta put my hair up. I can't survive. So let me know in the comments if you have ever made these. I know I have at least 1 or 2 videos on my YouTube channel that includes this, but I don't know if you have made these before or not. So let me know, and I'm going to give you a couple tips. So you're going to need 5 pieces of fabric, and then I like to use fusible fleece. You can use your batting scraps if you really want to, but I'll tell you why I like fusible fleece better. With fusible fleece, you're going to fuse it so it stays in place on the back fabric, right? Because you have a solid on the back. Don't those chickens look great on there? So you have a solid on the back, and if you have this fused, you can make your fusible fleece 4.5 inches square. So you're going to have a lot less bulk when you turn these right side out, and you'll get better points than this. Hopefully, we'll see. So that is why I like fusible fleece. And I usually use the Pellon 971F, I think. So let me know if you guys have fusible fleece hanging around or if I'm the only one. So one thing about pre-cuts from any company is you're never sure exactly where that cut is going to be from. So this is from the main fabric, and I think I have a piece of it here. It's kind of big, so here's what the whole thing looks like. So you're never sure, like, if you're going to get a great thing centered or if you're going to have like half cutouts, right? So that's one downside. But you can cut very deliberately if you cut off of your own fabric. So as we go through here, this one well, we would lose part of the E. Would be like, it's better to wake at the lock. Maybe that's not the best one for the back. So I'm just kind of looking to see, and I'm not in love with any of those for the back. So let's just do something simpler. Oh, Doreen would like to know more about my channel. Yes, you should subscribe to my channel. That's what I think. So my channel, you're on my channel actually. This is just a live event on my channel, and I do lots of sewing videos and tutorials, some quilts, some basic quilting stuff. Also, when I have new fabric come out, you'll see that on there. So I would love for you to join me there. And then also, since you asked about that, I'm going to tell you about one other thing, and I'm going to put it in the chat. I have been working really, really hard. I can't type and talk. Hold on. Okay, I've been working really, really hard on another option. So I do a lot of blogging on my, I'll put that one in there too, on my website, my main website that I've had for 20 years. I've been designing art for products for over 20 years. So I have a blog, and that has a lot of tutorials. I do a lot of tutorials on YouTube, but both of them have ads, and I know it's like not the easiest. Hold on, I'll switch so I can like be talking to you. Since I'm talking, not doing anything, you can look at me. Hair went up. I get a little warm. I have so many lights, it's crazy. But anyway, I have a membership that I have put together, and it is ad-free. So if you are a subscriber and you like my videos and you like how I teach and you just want to like hang out with me and do different things with no ads, I have just opened this membership, and there are 25 spots, or until the end of November, whichever comes first, at my founder price. So there is a link in the chat if you want to learn more about that, and you might as well get the founder price. So the founder price is $19 a month, or if you want to commit to a year of fun sewing, it's $190, so you get 2 months free. And then I'm also going to send you some of my fabric, and there's you can see what the fabric choices are. Like, I want you to get what you want, so you even get to choose. Somebody told me that was going to make my life complicated, but I said they're worth it. So, a little commercial for that. But it's fun, and if you like it and you want to do lots of projects ad-free, everything that is in my Etsy shop for sewing is going to be in this membership for free. So that's going to be worth it just right there. Back to our coasters. Okay, back to our coasters. So we're just going to pick 5. I'm going to try not to take so long. So we're going to say we're going to do fish. And I like to do 4 different ones and kind of have them alternate. So maybe we'll do 2 navy blue. That's that main one. I don't know, should we do like 2 fish in different colors? Like we'll do fish up here. Where's this? Okay, let's do this. What do you think? We're just winging it. That's kind of fun. So that's going to be the front. And then we can do something fun for the back, or, yeah, none of these bigger prints are cut very well to have that seam. Or we can do something really basic, right? Like if you just have scraps or whatever, you can do that. I can't decide. Let's put fish on the back too. Like we're going to give this to someone who loves to fish or has a lake house, of course. All right, so this is going to be the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to fuse this fleece, and I have these pre-cut to 4.5 inches. Now, if you've never used a fusible fleece or a fusible product, you just kind of rub it to know which side is the fusible part. So this side is soft, and this side is a little gritty, and that's what's going to melt. So you do not want that up, you want that down. So I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to center it on that fabric. And then, you know, follow manufacturer's instructions, which I think is like no steam, which is good because I couldn't handle having my big iron over here. I would just be really melting in about 10 seconds. And I often wing it. Don't tell them. But they're not paying me to do this, so I'm going to do what I want. Whoops. Okay, so that is not all the way adhered. I have to be patient. Okay, so that's done. And then what we're going to do with these is we are going to fold them each in half, and we are going to iron them. But when you're doing that, I want you to think about where you want it. Because if I fold this in half, and I want it up here, that's good. If I fold it in half, and I go like that, that's boring, like, and sideways. So you want to think about if it has any, and these are all kind of directional. They're tosses, but they do have a right side and a wrong side. So if I do this, that's what I'm going to get in this corner. So I kind of get the hat and hook. If I do it like this, I get that. So we're just going to do it that way. And then I also like to always tell people about different tools. I'm using, this is a wool mat. I don't know if you've ever used a wool mat before. It helps to like take the heat, and it helps you have firmer seams. Same with this quilter's clapper. It's a piece of wood. It's super comfortable. There's no finish on it. So it absorbs the heat from the fabric. So this kind of absorbs and pushes heat back. And then this makes it so you don't burn your hands. And it gives you a really, really good crease. See how like crisp that is? So I do love that. Okay, now this one is going to go, well, before I do that, you'll notice that it's a fold, the folds are always going in and they're opposite. So this one, like for this one anyway, let's see, we'll do it, we'll set it up this way. I can't do it. Okay, so anyway, two are going to be like this way and two are going to be up and down. So if this is how we want these to go together, no, we don't want that. We want, I want these in opposite corners. Oh my gosh, it's like a puzzle. But now those are two of the same together. Okay, hold on. Change plan. We're going to do another one of these fish. Then we're going to do that. Okay, we're going to do 4 different. Okay, so this one, the fold is in. So now this one, the fold needs to go this way, because this is going to be this bottom quadrant. Either that, oh, now he's upside down. So it'll have to be that. Okay. All right, so tell me in the comments, how are you planning on doing a lot of sewing for the holidays? Like, are you looking for ideas, save some money, be creative, use your supplies? What are your thoughts on that while I iron? And what kinds of things do you want to see? Oh, I also wanted to tell you that I've decided, since this is all about like things to sew for the holidays, like let's get started, and I'm going to give away stuff every week. But you have to stay to the end. I'm going to bribe you to stay to the end. So this week, anyone that comments at some point, whenever you want, it can be now, it can be later. If you comment, so much fun, you will be entered to win your choice of a pattern from my Etsy shop. That's this week's prize. Next week, I'm going to be doing key fobs. I love key fobs, or wristlets, some people call them. And I'm going to give away a set. So I'm going to give away the hardware and pliers that I'll just order from Amazon. Australia, I'm not sure about shipping that to you, but you can win this week for sure. Okay. And then the next week, I'm going to do bowl cozies, and I talked to my friends at Creative Grids who make these great templates that I love. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be doing a live and showing your stuff. Like, would you be willing to give one away? And they said, absolutely. So somebody's going to get to win a set of templates. And then I haven't decided the 4th week. All right, so we have our 5 pieces. These are folded in half. The back has the fusible fleece. So now what we're going to do is we are going to organize these the way we want, and they're kind of woven. So this is this corner, this is this corner. You need to get them lined up. Then this one is going to go here, And the most important thing is make sure the folds and not the cuts are on the inside. Okay, so we have our 3. And now this white needs to go over top of this blue. And then I just fold that down, fold that up, fold that down. These are really fast once you like get this down. Okay. So this is what we want the top to look like. And we're going to do this right sides together. So I just take this, and it really doesn't matter what way it goes, and I put that down. Then I'm going to clip all the way around. It is a little bit harder when you're clipping the back onto the woven pieces because you want to make sure they don't shift. But I have found that doing the weaving where you're seeing what is going to be on the front is just easier. So what I do is I clip this, and then I go back and I say, uh-oh, that's not good. So I turn it over, and then I make sure that everything is lined up and flat and the way I want it. And I'm going to, after I get this reclipped, I'm going to show you why I started doing it this way. Uh-oh. Let's see. Okay. Pot holders. Oh, you could do pot holders the same way with 10-inch squares, and instead of fusible fleece, you could use that. Oh yeah, I do have some right here. Okay, hold on, hold please. You could use this stuff, this Insulbright. It has the silver on it that protects you from the heat. You could put this in the center, but you can use this same fold around, like fold in half and clip around, which can be fun. Okay, so the reason I do it that way is, here's the reason. Look at this little cow, super cute. But it hurts my brain if I try and figure out, okay, if I want the cow showing and not the cow butt showing, because if the other side had been on top, you would really literally see just the cow's butt and feet, not ideal. I just wanted to make sure I could see what I was doing and where things were going. So if you have icons that you want in certain places, it's easier to do it the way I just showed you. I also tried this and it didn't work, and I wanted to show you that because I was like, oh, I really want the whole barn. Let me just try doing it this way. And this is just a different method where instead of folding it in half, I folded them in triangles. So I just press them like this. And you do 4, and you just weave them together the same exact way, so it just gives a little bit different look. But you really need the 4th one because you can see like that, and it didn't come together well. No matter what I did, this was sticking out. So I was like, okay, abort that plan. But I wanted to show you because I thought it was a good idea, but you can learn that it's really not the best idea. You want to do 4. You can also do circles. So if you cut 5 pieces in circles, you do the same thing, sew it into a circle. All right, so we have this pinned. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine, which is camera number 1. All right, this is my first time doing the sewing machine live. So be kind, bear with me. I think I have the best angle where my hands aren't going to be really in the way, and you're going to be able to see what I'm doing, hopefully. You're all got your fingers crossed for me, right? So I have this is my favorite foot. It is a 1/4 inch foot, because almost everything I do, whether it's quilt blocks or different other patterns, I usually use a 1/4 inch seam. So with the 1/4 inch foot, if I just have the edge of the fabric running up right against this foot, sometimes it's called a patchwork foot, it just depends on the manufacturer, I'm going a 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to line this up. I'm going to put my foot down, and then I'm going to put my needle down. I'm going to, holding onto the thread, pull that up, and then I always have tweezers, and I'm pulling up my bobbin thread. This is also one of my favorite things to do, because if you hold these threads, I'm holding them. Can you see that I'm holding them? I'm trying to see what you can see. Anyway, I'm holding them. If you hold them when you start sewing, you will avoid those like bird's nest knots or your machine going as it like digs into the bobbin thread and everything getting knotted. So anyway, one thing I love about this project is we do not have to leave anything open for turning because we're going to turn it through the center where it's all folded together. So I'm just going to sew all the way around 1/4 inch from the edge. Now when you get to these folds, you want to make sure they stay under and stay lined up and that you don't sew your finger. So I'm a big fan of having little scissors by my sewing machine, and I use them to hold this down when I get to anything that might like fold up over the foot. Like do that. We don't want that. Now this foot also has these 2 little lines. I don't know if you can see them. Hopefully you can see them at the front. And that is the 1/4 inch mark. So I can stop with my needle down and I know I'm at about 1/4 inch and then just lift and pivot or turn. Somebody asked why I use the word pivot in the comment in one of my videos. And the reason I do is because I feel like that's a pivot since my needle's down. I don't know. Pivot, turn, which do you prefer? Let me know. Hey Sharon, how are you? All right, so I'm just going to finish this up. Okay, here's something I'm curious about. If I talk while I'm sewing, can you hear me, or is the sewing too distracting? I'm going to keep talking. You tell me in the comments. Is talking while sewing a good idea on a live video? Yes or no? And then don't forget to comment at some point, yay, this is fun, or yes, this is fun. Any version of that I will accept, to be entered to win a free pattern from my Etsy shop. Okay, then I'm just going to knot that. Okay. All right, that's all the sewing we're doing. We're just sewing in a square. And if you get a bunch of these, like I kind of mass produce them. I call it doing the Henry Ford method because when he was making the Fords back in the beginning of cars, he was the first one to do assembly lines. And I think assembly lines when you're doing lots of gifts or simple projects is fantastic. And it's a great way to get other people involved too. Like if you're working with a group of people or with kids, you can have like, okay, you're in charge of picking the fabrics and the order. You're in charge of folding. You're in charge of this. You're in charge of that. So this is folded. Now we're going to go back to camera 3. Okay. Now what we need to do is clip the corners. Let me see. Hopefully this won't make you motion sick. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see closer. Move that over. Okay. So a lot of people, when they clip the corners, they go like that, right? Just straight across, making sure you do not cut your stitching. Okay, talking while sewing works. Yay. Okay, I wasn't sure. And yeah, you heard Ross, right? Pivot, pivot from Friends. I hear it every time I say the word. So this is one way to do it, but see, there's still a lot of fabric here that's going to get folded into this little section here when you turn this. Plus there's a little bit of fleece there. And so then you don't get as good a points, which I'm kind of resigned to having slightly curvy. Oops, slightly curvy. But if you cut, I'll do it on a fresh one. If you cut at an angle and you do 2 cuts per corner, see how I'm taking out a lot more of that fabric that gets pushed into here than when I cut it this way. So that is a tip. And always remember, don't cut the stitching, but that is going to give you much better points when you're doing anything. And that's for anything you're doing with a 90-degree angle. All right, so there we go. And this is like one of these little collapsible trash cans that I can take with me, but I can't remember last time I collapsed it. But it's very handy to have like a little bowl or a whatever for all your little cuts. Okay, now I'm going to zoom out so I don't have you miss anything. All right, so we're almost done, you guys. The next thing we're going to do is not lose my iron. We are going to turn this right side out. And all you do is you stick your fingers inside those folds. Oh my, that didn't fuse at all. That's embarrassing. Oh well. We're all human, right? That's what I get for not following the manufacturer's instructions perfectly, but I'm not going to worry about it because it's going to get sewn in. Okay, so you just have to turn this and poke into each corner. Now, one thing to note is when this is folded together, you could kind of go in between two layers of fabric, but that's not going to get your corner out. You have to be on the fleece level to really get your corner out. And I start by doing it, I almost forgot that one. I start by doing it with my hands, with my fingers, to get it as far as I can, but that looks awful, right? Like, yeah, no good, no bueno. So then I use a turning tool. Isn't that cute, little Riley Blake bird? Now, if you don't have a specific turning tool, that's okay. You can use, like, a chopstick works really great. You could use the tip of a mechanical pencil or a pen when it's not opened, because you don't want to be drawing inside your projects. And then you're just going to go really, really slowly and push those corners out. And the reason I say to go really slow is to, because if you don't, sometimes that pokes right out, or it pushes, especially because, you know, we clip those corners, it pushes some of the threads out, and you don't want that. So I'm just making sure that my tool is in between, is on the the fleece layer and under both layers of this. Ooh, I almost went through on that one. I really don't want to demo that. Okay. Okay, so that's as good as we're going to get, because it is, you know, a bit of fabric getting turned. And now I'm going to press it, and if you want to, it can be done. But I never decided that it's done here. I do one more thing. I always stitch around the edge because I feel like it seals everything together, so it's not going to move. And sometimes, let's face it, you have to put coasters in the laundry because somebody puts a cup down, like, and it's got red or it's got wine or something, and you get all annoyed, like, hey, I made that. But you can put these in the wash, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew all the way around the edge, but about 1/8 of an inch, so that it's catching that seam allowance, and it's just going to hold everything in place. So we are going to go back to camera 1. Let me see. Okay. All right, and when I did the pull up the bobbin when we sewed it the first time, that wasn't as important, because if we'd had like a snarly mess there, it would have been okay, because it would have been inside our coaster. But this is really important to not have a snarly mess on the back, so that your coaster looks really good and professional. So you definitely want to pull up that knot. And my machine has a knot feature, so I just push a button, it does it. I'm really spoiled, I know. I say this thing, if this thing could tell me I was pretty while I sewed, that's the only thing it's missing. But if you don't have that, you would just hold these threads up, and you would go forward and back a few stitches to lock your stitches in place. I also recommend, and you can kind of see it on this, I also recommend a walking foot. I use a walking foot almost all the time. What a walking foot does is, you know how you have these feed dogs down here that are pulling the bottom thread? The walking foot has feed dogs on top. So I don't know if you can see it moving. It's kind of like it look behind the needle here, and it goes back and forth. It kind of goes ch-ch-ch-ch. So it's helping move the top fabric, the fabric from the top as well as from the bottom. And this is, you know, this is pretty thick. So the more fabric and the more layers and the more batting that you have, the more you're going to like having a walking foot, so that things don't pucker, and your bottom fabric doesn't gut faster than your top fabric, and then you're like, well, shoot, that doesn't look so good. Sometimes all it needs is a walking foot. And don't forget, if you're just joining me, if you say, yay, this is fun, or some version of that, you will be entered to win a free pattern of your choice from my Etsy shop. And if you think this is fun, you can be one of the first 25 people to join my membership at the founder price. And it's the lowest it will ever be. I promise to all my founders, I will never, ever have it that low again after your first 25. And yours will never go up as long as you stay a member. So if you stay a member for 10 years, let's hope I'm doing this for 10 years, you will have that same price every single year, no matter what the price is for new people. So you get rewarded for joining me early. And you get fabric, and you get to pick it out if you do the annual plan. Okay, so this, hold on, I forgot to change cameras. I moved, you didn't. Okay, yes, Barb, you could. So, I mean, so many options. I'm showing you quick and easy. Barb said, like, you could sew around the edge using a decorative stitch. Yes, you totally could. You can get as fancy or as unfancy as you want. This is basic, right? We sewed it together, and I just did a straight stitch around the edge. On this one, I took it a step further, and I sewed, you know, I just did it, made it a little bit quilted, kind of like the look. You can play with the color of the thread that you're using. Had I used like a navy blue, that would have added more of a decorative look to these spots, but I just did white, so kind of, you see it more on this one, but it blends in. It's basic on the back. Now, I'm almost done. That's kind of sad because I'm having fun. Can do circles. But I want to tell you, I gave my son and my now daughter-in-law, she was my future daughter-in-law at the time, I gave them some of these last Christmas. And I'm pretty sure I said they're coasters. But apparently she did not hear that part. Okay, hold on. Since I'm not doing anything, I'll talk to you. Okay, so apparently she didn't hear the part about they were coasters. And she called me one day and she's like, oh, those fabric things that you gave me, not sure what they are, but they're great for jewelry. So if you don't stitch, like some people will stitch across that way, it makes little pockets just by how it's woven. And so she put earrings in each of these and like a necklace and used it for travel. And she's like, it was fantastic. And I was like, I have never heard of anyone using it that way, but I thought it was a pretty good idea too. So what I made her more recently was one that was even better for that purpose. So I basically stitched along each spot so that I didn't close any of the pockets, but I made it so it wouldn't like slide. Like I stitched it so it wouldn't slide under too far. And then I also made her one where I just did one piece across the top and I added little ribbons. I think I added, so it had two pockets down here. I don't have a picture of it. And she lives in London, so I couldn't borrow it for this video. So it had two pockets down here, and then I put 4 little ribbons so she could hook her bracelets or her necklaces through it. And I just gave that to her recently, and she said it was a wonderful upgrade. So maybe we'll do that another time. But this is the basic coaster. That's how it works. And I hope you had fun. This is my 3rd live. I'm getting much more comfortable at it. I'm not getting cooler with all these lights on in here. And I hope you join me next week. Same time, different link, obviously, but it is already set up. So next week we are going to be doing key fobs. I'm going to show you some different, oh geez. My iron just like slid onto my workspace. That's not good. That's what the clunk was if you heard it. Okay, so next week we're going to do key fobs. I'm going to show you like some different sizes and why you might use a different size. Also how you can personalize them. Do any of you have like Cricut machines, silhouette machines? Let me know in the comments if you do, because I can show you how to use that too. Sometimes I use mine to cut fabric. Sometimes I just use it to do heat vinyl to personalize things. And we'll do a little bit of that next week. So when we're done, I will go through the comments and I will respond to the person that wins the Etsy thing. And then I'll need you to email me or message me. Can you message on YouTube? I don't know. I'll tell you how to get in touch with me so that you can tell me what you want. And next week, I'm going to be giving away the hardware and plier set for the key fobs. So one person will be lucky to get that. And then the following week are the bowl cozies. So thank you so much for joining me. check the link in the comments. It's kind of up a little bit, because thank you so much. Oh, Helen wants to see the jewelry holder. All right, I'll do that. I couldn't get it organized for today. And oh, good, Trisha, I'm glad you thought it was fun. Yeah, I'm having fun. It's definitely more fun, like you guys bring energy to it, because sometimes when I'm doing my regular videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just talking to myself. Whatever. Anyway, have a wonderful evening. I'm so glad you joined me, and I hope to see you next week. And then make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so it notifies you whenever I post a new video. Have a great evening.